Okay,
Very
and
cool.
so I'm going to turn time over to Chris now so that we can get going.
All right. Welcome, everyone. So as Melanie said, my name is Christopher Maselli. I'm been with Wingspace now for a couple of years. And if you're not a regular Wingspace member, I highly encourage you to check Wingspace out. They have great programs. I've been part of a mastermind there for a couple of years, and it's helped my business like nothing else. They do have, you can meet there locally, or if you are not from this area, I think we have a few people who may not be from around this area. They have online programs now too, where you can join masterminds and take all their classes and that. And so totally worth it. Highly recommend Wingspace. Check them out at wingspace.biz. Is that right, Melanie?
Correct.
All right, wingspace.biz. So as I said, my name's Chris. I'm a freelance writer. I've been a freelance writer for about 25 years, but also that time too, I have worked in marketing agencies, and I was a digital lead for digital marketing for an international nonprofit. I've got a good dozen certifications in online marketing and all that good stuff. But I say all that because a couple years ago, we made a big change in our lives. We decided we were going to sell the house and get an RV and travel around the nation with our kids. And so we did that. It was quite a quite a big change for us, especially having to rely upon doing everything freelance, right? Not having that steady paycheck. Well, I knew one of the components for having a business was that I needed to have a social media presence that was really strong. And at that time, even though I had helped many others have social media presence, I didn't have one for myself. I had 0 followers on Twitter. I didn't have an Instagram account. I had a very meek Facebook account, you know, few hundred friends maybe. I had a few hundred people that were on LinkedIn with me, and I didn't have a Pinterest account. And I also didn't have a social media team anymore. You know, wouldn't it be nice to have a whole team of people that you can say, hey, go ahead and do this or do that, and, you know, they'll make it happen. Well, I didn't have that. And I knew I needed that if I wanted to put a lot of things online and really have a good presence. But I also knew I did not want to make this like my full-time thing doing social media. I mean, how many of you are like, yeah, would love to have social media presence, but I have other things that I want to do, right? And so that was me. I knew I wanted to spend my time writing and spending time with my business, not just managing social media. So I took what I already knew, and I decided I'm going to deep dive into schooling myself on how to make all of this happen online. And so that's what I did. And it took me more than 21 days. I know the promise of this workshop is how to create a social media machine in 21 days. And you can. And I'm going to show you exactly what you can do for each week of that 21 days to make that happen. So look at the calendar. Who knows what today's date is? It's June 10th. So what's 21 days from today? Someone put that in chat. I can't do the math in my head right now. I think it's July 1st, okay? 21 days from today is July 1st, right? So by July 1st, if you do what we talk about in this little seminar here, you can have a fully functioning social media marketing machine. Thank you, Nathan. Yes, July 1st, totally functioning social media marketing machine. Since I have gotten mine up, I have been able to post thousands of posts on social media, literally thousands. In fact, there's posts going out right now while we're having this seminar that are going out, and I'm not posting them myself. I also have grown my social media following. I have about 65,000 followers across the social media channels. Imagine that. And I did that in about 1 year, okay? So even though it may seem like, man, I don't know how I can possibly get followers, I'm telling you, content is the key. You want to put a lot of good content out there, and we're going to talk about that today. So what I want to do is I want to switch over to the presentation that I have so that you can see that and not have to look at me the whole time, although you may be able to keep me open in a window. I'm not sure how that works. But this will give you an idea of what, I'm going to have the presentation. I'm going to show you screenshots of what I use and all that good stuff. So let's switch there. Okay, hopefully you can all see that. And if you have questions as we go, feel free to throw them in the group chat. As Melody said, there's a chat button at the bottom here, and you can click on that chat and you can ask any questions. And then as we go through, there's going to be points where I'll stop and I'll go back and answer any questions you've got. And because I want to make sure it's real clear for everyone exactly what we're doing, okay? So this is how to create a social media machine in 21 days. We all know we need an audience. That's what I was just talking about. I realized I needed one for social media. And so my goal was this, and I have a feeling this is probably your goal too. I wanted to have presence on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and that's LinkedIn and Pinterest. I wanted to have posts from my blog show up on there. I wanted to have posts from other people's blogs and good information. I wanted to have that show up there. I wanted to have quotes, right? Because everyone loves to share quotes. So since I was doing a writing business, I wanted to have writing quotes. I wanted to do writing prompts. This is just a way to make people interact with what I do, right? So for writing, I wanted to do writing prompts. I came up with this idea for like tag and shares, which is essentially tag someone else across social media and share. So tag and share this with the most giving person you know, right? Again, creates interaction. I thought that was kind of cool. I wanted to do inspirational posts because everyone shares inspiration and motivation. We had some videos that we did on YouTube. I wanted to share those. And then, of course, I wanted to have promotional posts because I was selling books and I wanted to have people know about the different books that I had. So I want to put those. And then, of course, last but not least, I wanted to have cat memes because who wouldn't want to have cat memes, right? Those get shared a lot. Actually, what I wanted to just have was a lot of fun kind of memes, just fun things that people would want to share. And so my overall goal was to create 365 posts up front so that I could schedule them out and have them drop once a day. Okay, so 365 or more. Now that may sound still like, oh man, this is, overwhelming. I mean, when I look at all those things, right, that you see on the screen there, seems a little overwhelming to me when I look at all that. But the process can be achieved by automation. Okay, so what I'm going to show you is exactly how I created and automated everything to make my social media machine work. Okay, and you can do this no matter what you're promoting. If you've got online classes that you're doing, you can do this. If you've got a brick and mortar store, you can do this. If you've got a book, you're an author, you can do this. So whatever it is that you're wanting to do, create your social media for, you can use this kind of system. Okay, so week one, here's what I want you to do. I'm going to give you a little homework for every week. And if you do this homework for each week, you'll have everything you need. Now, hopefully every one of you received this handout that I have. If you have not, I put a link at the top of the chat. You can download it. It's a PDF file. You can print it out. Although I got to tell you, it's mostly blanks. So if you just want to use a regular piece of paper and write down what we talk about, that's fine too. Don't feel like you have to print this out. But we're going to fill this out together during this seminar today. The seminar is only going to last about 45 minutes to an hour, a little under an hour, and you'll have your whole roadmap for your social media marketing machine. Is that cool? Yes, that's cool, Chris. It's hard not being in an actual classroom. You get a lot of feedback. Okay, so week one, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to create your social media accounts. Here are the 5 accounts I want you to create, okay? And some of you may already have this done, so you may be way ahead of the schedule. I want you to create a Facebook account. That's a Facebook page, not a personal profile. I'm talking about a Facebook page. You want a business page. You can select when you select to create a new one, and it'll link your page to your personal profile. And this allows you to do things like run ads and get marketing analytics and all that sort of thing. So you want to be sure to create a page, not a profile. If your business is already just a profile, there is an option in Facebook to turn that into a page. So you can do that, but I highly recommend creating a Facebook page. Next, I want you to create a Twitter account. Again, I would choose a business account. They don't really make a differentiation between the two other than some of the options that they give you. So you can just go in there and change it to a business account if you need to. I recommend also using your LinkedIn profile just for yourself, especially if you're doing any kind of personality thing, like you're an author or you teach online classes or something. You might want to have people link to your LinkedIn profile. You can also do a LinkedIn company page, though people don't tend to use those as much. And then, of course, an Instagram account. Again, you can have a business profile on that. And then on Pinterest, you can create an account there, okay? So those 5 accounts. Now, you may say, well, I don't need all 5 of those. Well, then you don't have to create them. But what I'm going to show you will automatically post to all 5 of those accounts. So why not be on the services, right? Because you can be, so why not be? Okay, so once you've created those 5 accounts, the next thing you need to do is gather your assets. Okay, so here's what you're going to need. You're going to need a short bio, like 1 to 2 sentences at most, about your business. Then you're going to want to have a long bio, maybe 2 short paragraphs, okay, about 6 sentences about your business. The reason you need 2 different versions of that is because different services give you different lengths of what you can fill in. Facebook actually lets you put both in. So you might as well go ahead and get both of those bios, so write those. And the other thing you're going to need is you're going to need to have images to put at the top of all these social channels, right? You've seen it when you go to some business's page, they've got a nice image and logo and all that sort of thing up there. And now here's the thing, you may already have your logos, you may already have these created. If you don't, I'm going to share with you one of my favorite tools, and it is called Stencil, okay? And I put a link here on this handout. If you go to writing.fyi/stencil, you'll see that you can get this for about $15 a month. This is a lot like Canva. If you have Canva, you can use that too. I prefer Stencil because it's a little bit easier to use, and when I work with people, they tend to like how easy it is. And I'm going to show you. I'm going to jump to another tab here. This is Stencil. So as you can see, you've got all kinds of photos over here, and you've got a layout. So I'm just going to real quick create a header for one of my social media channels to show you how quick this is and why you probably don't even need to hire a graphic artist, okay? So down here, you can choose what you want to create. So I'm going to go here under headers, and I'm going to create a Facebook cover, okay? This now gives me the space that I have to create a Facebook cover. Now I'm going to go ahead and just for fun, like you can search for whatever you want to do that. I'm going to just go use these blue flowers, put those in there. And then I've uploaded my logo already. So I'm going to grab my logo and put it in there. Oh. Oh, I've got it down there at the bottom. I was thinking, where's it at? Here it is. Okay. So I grab my logo, put that in there, and look at that. Now, I might want to choose a different background, something to do with writing, but there I've created a header for my Facebook page, and I can download that and put it right on my Facebook page. Pretty cool, yeah? Here's the other cool thing. Check this out. You click on Twitter header, and now it changes the dimensions. I can move that up a little bit, and there's my Twitter header. Really quick, and you can do that for every social media profile. And then download it, put it right on those profiles. No need to hire an artist or anything. It makes it really easy. So that is Stencil. And I'm going to come back to this in a little bit because we're going to use this for some other things too. But I love Stencil because of how simple that is. So those are the assets you need. You need your covers, you need your bios, okay? And then the next thing we want to do, this is going to be probably the most intensive thing you're going to do as far as having to brainstorm a bit. And that is you're going to brainstorm some categories. Okay, now when I say categories, I don't mean topics. I mean categories for the types of things that you're going to put on social media. And I want you to brainstorm 7 of these, okay? And one of those can be promotions, because you're probably going to have some kind of promotion, whether you're promoting your business or a new seminar you've got coming up or a book you've written, whatever it is, you're going to have some promos. So that'll be one of them. And let me show you what I use, and that may make it a little easier to understand. So I look at categories like buckets, okay? Each category is a bucket of the type of posts that we're going to create. So for instance, one of my buckets is author quotes, okay? I want to have quotes from authors that I post, maybe with a picture of them on them, just like this one here. It's one of my author quotes, and I want to create 52 of those, okay? That's so I can post 1 a week. Another thing is book quotes. Okay, again, this focuses around my business, but you might have something else like factoids about your business. Where I told you I wanted to do writing prompts, memes. Here's some other ideas. Quotes, factoids, promos. That should be on everyone's. Inspiration, that should probably be on everyone's too, because people love to share inspirational or motivational posts. The tag and share. Recommended tools, right? If you're advertising wing space, I know a lot of people who are into productivity. They want to come here, so I want to recommend tools for productivity. Photos, you can just have photos like motivations and throwbacks, that sort of thing, right? Here's our business when we opened 2 years ago, that sort of thing. Humorous memes. There might be some other things, okay? So you can go ahead and create a bunch of those. So let's go back to the sheet. Here are the 7 that I chose, okay? Writing quotes, funny memes, tag and share, author quotes, writing prompts, story starters, and promos. So what I want you to do is just take, I'm gonna shut up for about 30 seconds here and just let you brainstorm a little bit and try to come up with 7 of your own. What could you come up with for your business? And if you've come up with a good one, go ahead and throw it in the chat and we'll share it. Maybe that'll help give other people ideas too. So it looks like we got about 20 people here now. That's great. I hope this helps everyone's business. What are your categories? Teresa says she wants to do before and after pics for organizing. So she has an organizing business and she wants to show a before pic and an after pic, like how a closet looks, how a room looks, maybe how an office desk looks. That's a great idea. That is a bit of a promo too, isn't it? But it's something that certainly people who connect with you would be interested in that. That's good. Nathan says live streaming best practices. He's building an online live streaming profile, so he wants to have the best practices for live streaming. That is great. Tips and tricks, always good. Melissa says tips for digital organizing. Excellent, excellent. You could even do short videos of that, right? Even like short GIFs that move. If you know how to do that, that'd be kind of cool. All right, so tips and tricks. So really, all those kind of things are all like tips and tricks. That's great, great ideas. Okay, so now that you've got hopefully a few of those written down, let's go ahead and continue on the next thing that we need for this week. Okay, or actually that's going to be week 2. So that's it for week 1. So now we're going to jump into week 2, okay? So everything we just talked about, I'm just asking you to do all that within 7 days. Most of you could probably look at what we just talked about and you're thinking, that's realistic for 7 days. I think you can do that. In fact, I know you can because I've worked with people who've been able to do it. It's not that difficult. You can absolutely do it. Before I go on, I have a question here. Melissa asks, she says, I have a personal Pinterest account. Should we use that or a separate business account? I would create a separate business account because you may just have personal things on there that you don't want everyone to see. So absolutely, in all of these services, I recommend creating business pages. If they have the option, if you have a personal page and already have a lot of followers, sometimes they'll let you convert those over. But in general, yeah, I'd create business accounts. And once you start posting content, you'll see as you automate it, they're going to build up followers, to where you'll probably meet the amount of followers you have on your personal account pretty quickly, because most of us don't have thousands of people on our personal accounts. So I would definitely do business accounts. Plus on Pinterest, you can do some really cool things. Like you can create the image for each of your different pin groups and make them all look the same. And I know, Melissa, you do organizing because you mentioned digital organizing, and you could make it organized really cool, make it look really cool. So yeah, if you go to if you go to pinterest.com/writing momentum, you'll see how we have the different category picks at the front there. And so you can kind of check those out. You can feel free to look at our digital channels to kind of get an idea of how I set it up. And I think you'll like that. Okay, so next, week 2. All right, we're already done with 1 week. I only got 2 things for week 2. Check this out. The first thing I want you to do on week 2 is you're going to research hashtags and blogs, okay? So you're going to put in a little research this week. The reason you have to research hashtags is because some of these services use hashtags. That's what people use on the services to communicate, okay? So I liken it to, going into a large auditorium filled with thousands of people. If you walk into an auditorium and it's filled with thousands of people, all you're going to hear is this rush of noise, okay? That's like the homepage on Twitter. If you've ever gone to Twitter, I can't tell you how many people tell me I don't get Twitter because they go there and it just looks like this complete mess of noise and politics and people screaming and posting funny pictures. And what is this about? Well, it's because you're not really meant to use Twitter on the homepage. Twitter uses hashtags. Instagram's the same way. If you go on Twitter or Instagram and you type in a hashtag like writing, you will see just the posts where people are talking about writing. All those political posts, all those other things that people are sharing that seems like pure craziness, it goes away. And you can actually hear the conversation you want to hear. Well, if you want to participate in that conversation, you have to use that hashtag too. So what we want to do is we want to come up with a hashtag or two for each one of those categories we just created. Okay, so what might, and you can just guess this to start with, what might be a good hashtag for writing quotes? Well, maybe hashtag writing, maybe hashtag quotes, right? Maybe hashtag writing quote. So what you want to do is come up with some ideas for hashtags for every one of your categories. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do this in a really fun way. And that is by going to this resource called hashtagify.me. That's also on your resource sheet at the bottom. Hashtagify.me, okay? You go there and you can enter a hashtag. For instance, I can enter the hashtag writing. And when I do, it's going to pull up for me here a popularity graph. And out of a number 1 to 100, it's going to show me how popular that hashtag is. So look, this one's pretty popular. 3/4 of the circle's filled, so I know it's a pretty popular hashtag. But what's really cool about this is it gives you related hashtags, okay? So if you scroll down here, check this out. Books, writing, look at this one, M writing. If I hover over it, you can see that's got a popularity of 76.8. That's even higher than writing was, okay? So I realized I never even heard of hashtag M writing before I started this. And I realized that's what all the writers are using, right? So I started using that hashtag for something like writing quotes. I would use that hashtag. Let's also type in writing quote just to see what it does. You have to think for a minute. Look, 31, not that high, but look how high. Writing quotes is 37. Okay, so this one was 37. By making it plural, I'm reaching more people. So use this tool, hashtagify.me. It's completely free, and find some of the best hashtags for the different topics that you have. A couple of you were into organization. Let's look that up. It gets a 52. That's not bad. Tips, I bet is really high. That's 74. Storage, 60, okay? Probably, you can also type on correlation, which gives you other ideas sometimes. Again, so there's productivity, that's gonna be high, 63, right? So organize, let's try organizing. And I just kind of do this. I can just kind of start trying different things out. That one's got 47, it's not as high. Oh, but look at home here, 76, right? Declutter is 46. So you can, and cleaning is 59. So you can start to include some of these different hashtags that are more popular, and that's going to get more eyeballs on your posts, and it's going to help you to be in more conversations. So that's what I want you to do back on our sheet here, is try to come up with what are some related hashtags. Here's what I came up with. M writing, writing life, writing community, funny, and so on and so forth. And I wanted to have those because, as you'll see, we're going to use those in a little bit, okay? Melissa asked, any suggestion for how many hashtags should be on a single post? Yes. On Facebook, they use hashtags, but not a whole lot. Probably don't need it a whole lot. On Twitter, I recommend around 3, okay? 3 will get you into some, that'll get you some traction. I wouldn't do a whole lot more than that. You don't have a whole lot of room anyway on Twitter, so you want to keep that down. On Instagram, you can use a lot more. A lot of people like to stuff their posts with 50 or 60. I don't recommend that much. I like to keep mine under 15. But honestly, I'm good with 3 usually, as long as I find good communities. And your hashtag, by the way, on Instagram, your hashtags can be a little different. So if you click, see they got an Instagram tag too, you can also try that for Instagram. I find most of the hashtags are the same, so I usually, especially like writing community, is on both those services. So I'll use writing community a lot, and I'm sure, again, home, cleaning, storage, any of those kind of things you can use on either and all services. LinkedIn, don't worry about it. Pinterest is good to have, again, about 3, but people use it differently on Pinterest than they do the others. I really recommend hashtags more than anything for Instagram and Twitter. Teresa says I'd use hashtag organizing, hashtag home, or hashtag organizing home. Yes to all 3, as long as they get hits. So if organizing gets hits, you see that it's pretty popular, use that. If home gets hits, use popular, use that. If organizing home together is popular, then use that. But if together people aren't doing that, then no, don't use that. Let's just see. Organizing home. Yeah, no one uses that. So no, you wouldn't want to use that one because it's just not used. So see, this is a way you can keep yourself from wasting hashtag space, right? Nathan says, does 3 hashtags on Twitter look like a sea of blue I've seen before? Hopefully not. In fact, if you can use hashtags in what you write, right? So you can say, here's today's hashtag writing, hashtag quote, and then you put it in there. So it actually becomes part of the text of what you're writing by your quote too, okay? And if you just put 3 at the end, it's not gonna be overwhelming. Okay, so I want you to come up with your hashtags, and then I want you to come up with 3 blogs, okay? And here's what I mean by blogs. I want you to come up with the ideas of 3 blogs that you would recommend to someone who's interested in what you do for a business, but who's not a competitor, okay? So as an author, I don't necessarily want a blog of another author, but I want a blog of something in the writing space. So I chose Writer's Digest, Write Well, Sell Well, and SCBWI, which is the Children's Writers Organization. These are 3 blogs that aren't going to like take my customers, right? But they have really good information that people who are my customers would want to have, okay? So for instance, for organizing, Melissa, you talked about digital organizing. The Trello blog would be great. That's a blog that they have great information about productivity and organizing, but they are not really a competitor. They're not going to steal your customers, right? So think about what are some blogs that you trust that regularly post good information and aren't really a competitor. That may take you some time to think about, but you're going to go ahead and write those 3 under blogs you trust. Okay, that was the easy part of what you're going to do in week 2. Now we're going to get to the hard part, okay? But it's actually not as hard as you might think.
It's 1 o'clock.
It is 1 o'clock. So we're about halfway through. Can you believe that? It's gone fast, hasn't it? It always goes fast when we do this one. This is so full of good information. The next thing on week 2 you want to do is I want you to create all your posts. Those 365 posts we talked about, I want you to create those. I want you to create 52. So look at my categories. If I'm doing writing quotes, I need 52 writing quotes. If I need funny memes, I need 52 writing memes. If I'm doing tag and share, I need 52 tag and shares, and so on and so forth. Now that may seem like a lot of work, but I'm going to show you not only how you can do it quickly, but how you can have it done quickly for you. First of all, just to dispel the idea that this is a lot of work. Like when I did writing prompts, my wife and I I remember she was sitting on the bed and I was pacing, and we just come up with, okay, what could be a good writing prompt? Well, how about there's a knock on your door and you open it and there's a knight in shining armor. Go. Like that's a writing prompt, right? Aliens just landed in your backyard. Go. And we came up with 52 of those in about half an hour, okay? You want to do the same thing. When it comes to quotes, you can go online. There's quotes everywhere. You can find places that you can find quotes, give attribution, and you're fine, right? 52 tools that you might recommend that people use for organization, or 52. Someone mentioned earlier. before and after pics, okay? You might want to say, okay, I want to try and come up with 52 of these. And you may not have 52 to start off with, but you can start building toward that, okay? So if you're going to create this yourself, again, my tool of choice is Stencil. So you can use, again, you can use Canva. There's a lot of alternatives out there. Let me show you how easy it is using a tool like this if you've not done it before. For those of you who've done it, you can just keep working on your, your categories and that sort of thing. So in Stencil, here's how easy it is to create a quote. First of all, I'm going to clear this one out and get rid of it. They have a place here called Social. And in here, you can choose like specific places. I just use default because most of them can display the default just fine. Then here's how cool it is. You can go to Photos. Again, grab a photo. How about the squirrel? Then I can add some text, and I'm going to say, writing is nuts, right? And of course, you can do all kinds of things by changing the size of your text. You can change the color if you want. You can do whatever you want. You can give attribution to someone if it was someone who specifically said it. And then I like to also take and put my logo here at the bottom. Okay, so that's why it was down at the bottom before, because I had just done this. There you go. And there's my quote, and I can download it. Now that took me about 30 seconds to create that little like meme right there, right? So it's kind of cute, not hard to do. You can do a lot fancier stuff in here if you want to. Doesn't take long to create 52 of those yourself if you want to. And it can actually be easier. Check this out. I'm gonna delete this, clear that. Go back up here, I'm gonna choose that squirrel again. This time, I'm gonna click on quotes. Now check this out. I type in the word writing, which I did earlier, and it comes out with a whole bunch of quotes for me. I can take those, add that here, and automatically I've got my quote. I didn't even have to go researching on the internet to find a quote. It just found it for me. Is that not cool? And of course, you can change the fonts and everything here. My point is, it's not hard to do. If you're talking about organization, okay, let's talking about organizations, but like here, this one's on organization. With organization comes empowerment. Okay, so there's one right there, and you of course would probably want a different picture than a squirrel. But that's the kind of thing. So you can create quotes really quick through this. I absolutely love that about Stencil. It makes it so quick and easy. But Stencil's not the only way you may want to go. What I did is I went to Fiverr after I created some of my own, because I said, you know, I want to do this even faster. Now, if you've not used Fiverr before, it is so cool. It's basically an online service of virtual assistants who, for as little as $5, will do stuff for you, okay? So I went in here and I searched for people who would create quotes for me. And I happened to find a woman, she was a college student, her name was Karina, and I sent her some of my quotes just for a test to see how good she did, and she did a great job. In fact, all the quotes you've seen so far in this presentation, those pictures, she created all those. And she created those for 20 cents a piece for me. So now if you do the math, you'll see that I was able to create about 365 posts for $75. Okay, not much more than a couple dinners at McDonald's, okay? So it doesn't cost much. Now, you don't have to spend that. You can do it yourself through something like Stencil. Stencil's about $15 a month. But if you want to have someone do it for you, you can search to have someone who can create it. And I wish I could recommend Karina today, but she graduated and she's no longer doing posts. So you have to find someone else. But you can find someone on a place like Fiverr. You might even be able to find a college student or someone that you know. There's a lot of kids, you know, this stuff comes secondhand to them. They'd be more than happy to create a bunch of quotes for you. Hire them, tell them you give them $75 to create a couple hundred quotes. They'd probably love it, and then they can buy one video game for them. One for $75. That's a lot. Okay, so that's it. That's it for week 2. In week 2, I want you to go ahead and do those things we talk about. I want you to do your research. I want you to create your posts. Before we get into week 3, let me answer a couple questions. We just got a couple. Teresa says on Hashtagify, I'm seeing only paid plans. That is true for Instagram. They want you to pay for the Instagram, but all the Twitter hashtags are free, and they're almost all the same. So I just use it for free. I just use the free version. But also, too, you can go on those services and start typing in hashtags, and you'll see. Like when you start interfacing with your groups, or interacting rather with your groups on those different channels, you'll see what everyone's using. If you type in writing, you'll see that people are also using M-writing and writing community. If you type in organization or organizing, you'll see that people are also using declutter and that sort of thing. So whatever you're looking for, you can find through the service. You can do almost everything we're talking about here for free or for very, very low cost. Melanie says, what about podcasts? Melanie, do you mean podcasts for one of your categories? And if so, absolutely, that's a great idea. If you're regularly doing podcasts, oh, you're saying instead of blogs. Yes, if you find a podcast that has a feed that you want to use, in fact, I should show you this. This is going to be free, y'all. Okay, want to make sure you get your money's worth out of this seminar. Okay, so if you go to, I think it's Headliner. Yeah, headliner.app. This is really cool. This is completely free. And what you can do is you can put any podcast in here, and anytime they come out with a new podcast, it will create a little video that you can share on social media. So my own podcast, I have a podcast called Course Wizards, courseWizards.com. Check that out. But if you'll see that I have regular posts and quotes from podcasts that I pull from my own podcast and put that on social media. So yes, you can use that along with a blog. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so that's headliner.app. Okay, and let's go back now. Here we are on week 3. Week 3 is going to be the really fun week because this is where you're going to really see everything come together. Okay, I told you I wanted to have a social media team for what I did because I used to have a team. Well, that's what you're going to get on the 3rd week. You're going to find your social media team. What you'll need to do is there are several different apps that become your social media team, and you can choose your favorite. My favorite is SocialBee. Okay. You can find them at writing.fyi/socialbee. You'll see that I have that on the sheet. This is the one I recommend because I use it all the time. I've fallen in love with it. It just works so well. It has one really big advantage that I'll tell you about in a minute. I have become an affiliate for it just because I recommend it so much. So I'm not really making a lot on it if you use my link, but please do if you want to check them out. It's writing.fyi/socialbee, and I did contact the developer, and they gave me the coupon code Momentum20. That's also on your sheet, and that gives you 20% off, locked in for life on there, which makes it, I want to say something like $11 a month or something to use this. And when you see how much time it saves you, you want to use a service like this. Now, you don't have to use SocialBee. There's a lot of other services out there. Feel free to check them all out. I did. I checked out. I mean, I probably tried 20 different ones. This was my favorite, and that's why I recommend it. But feel free to use another one. I'm not here to push you to SocialBee. But for the purposes of this talk, I have to have an example to show you how I set it up and how I used it. Almost all the services looked very similar inside. And so that's why I use SocialBee. I like their price. It's pretty low. Their support has always been great. They'll get back to me within 24 hours. They regularly have constant development, and I find it very easy to use. I'm able, when I show people how to use it, they're able to understand it pretty quickly, which is something I wanted because I knew that people would be using my research to build their own, and so I wanted to make sure it was easy to use. But the big advantage that I really love about SocialBee, and if you use another service, make sure they have this. They allow you to upload large groups of images at once and drop them into your buckets that you're going to create. Okay, all those images, those 52 images, you want to be able to upload those in the same way that you would attach images to an email. Really easy, right? Drag and drop. Some of the other services want you to do things like create spreadsheets and insert your images in the spreadsheets and then upload the spreadsheet. I don't have time for that. I'm sure you don't either. It just makes it, technology can be difficult enough as it is. We don't need it to be more difficult. So try to find a service that has image upload in bulk, which is what SocialBee has. So here's how that works. Starting on week 3, the first thing you need to do is when you get a service like SocialBee, you need to connect your accounts, okay? So you have your 5 accounts: Twitter, Facebook page, LinkedIn, whether you did a profile or a company, and then Instagram and Pinterest. And you're going to go through here, and one by one, you're going to connect the accounts, which is just as easy as clicking on those buttons. Now, Instagram and Pinterest are a little bit different. You have to go through Hootsuite, which is another service you have to sign up for. It's free. And then you connect Hootsuite to here. And that's because those 2 services they've stopped allowing a lot of services to connect with them. It's just kind of internal measures they're going through. And so for now, you have to do that. And it's like that on almost every service that I checked. Some of them have a direct connection to Instagram, but most of them you have to use Hootsuite. So not a big deal. Hootsuite's free, and you can connect then to your Pinterest and Instagram through there. Okay, so you're going to connect up all your profiles. And Sydney just said, well, what about Hootsuite? Well, this is where you use Hootsuite. Okay. But Hootsuite doesn't have as full of features as SocialBee is, which is why you need to go through SocialBee, because we're going to get into scheduling and you want to see everything in one place. And I don't want to use multiple services. Like I said, I want this to be as simple but as effective as possible. Okay, so first you're going to connect, then you need to create your categories, okay? So as you saw, we have created 7 categories here: writing quotes, funny memes, author quotes, story starters, whatever. You're going to go into whatever service you chose, or like SocialBee, like I did, and you're going to create your categories. So they're going to give you an area right inside the service where you can create categories. So you can see here, I created a category called author quotes. I created one called literary quotes. I created one called movie parodies. I created one called news, okay? And each one of those are categories that I am then going to upload all of my images to. And I'm going to show you how I do that in just a second. So you want to have your 7 categories created. After you've created those categories, and of course they've got video walkthroughs on how to do all this. It's pretty simple though. It's just you click that button there that says create category, and you title the category author quotes or whatever you want, and it's created. Okay, it's like just creating a bucket in the service, but it's a personal bucket. Next, you need to upload your images with hashtags. So you're going to take all those images that you created in week 2, and you're going to take the hashtags that you also created in week 2 that you have right there beside each category, and you're going to put them together inside the service. Let me give you an idea how that looks. So here is the bulk media import panel that they give you in SocialBee. Let me show you what you're looking at here. At the top, these are all the services we have connected to SocialBee. So you can see the first one there is my Twitter account. The next one is my LinkedIn account. I've connected a couple others, but I'm not using those. Then the next one that I'm using is the one in color. That's my wife's LinkedIn account. Then we have our Facebook page. And then we have Pinterest and Instagram, both through Hootsuite, okay? The next line down, it says, well, which Pinterest board if you're going to use Pinterest? So I say, well, I'm going to put these on the writing prompts board. Then it says, what category? What bucket do you want to use? And I say, well, I want to put all these photos in my writing prompts bucket. That's why we had to create our buckets, our categories first, so that we could tell what category to put all those pictures in. Then it says append text. Okay, that means what text you want to have written here. This is where you're going to paste in your hashtags. Okay, because this will link those hashtags to those pictures. So I'm going to create a writing prompt and an mWriting hashtag to connect to all the photos that I upload that are writing prompts. Okay, does that make sense? And then I'm just going to drag from my desktop and drop all of those images right there on add photos or videos. It's just like adding photos to your email that you're sending someone, only you're going to add 52 of them, and they're all going to drop right on there, and it goes, it fills it all up, and the next thing you know, they're all in there. And if you want to go and individually change hashtags on individual ones, you can do that, but if you want to just do it in bulk like I did, there you're done, okay? And you're going to do that 7 times, 1 for each category. Then you're also going to go over to, have another one called RSS feeds, okay? You're going to add an RSS feed for those 3 blogs that you found earlier. Remember those blogs that we trust but aren't our competitors? Each one of those, you're going to go on their webpage, you're going to find their RSS feed, and you're going to add it here. And then that's going to drop into a news bucket for you, a news category, okay? And let me show you how that looks. This is really cool. You put that in there. It asks for the URL. You're going to put that in, and that URL is going to be on their blog page, okay? You usually can find a link for it. And then when it posts, here's how it goes out. This is an actual post on, I think this is on Twitter, from someone else's blog. Okay, it looks like I posted that story, but it's their blog. So this is a great way to have content from you that helps your readers, but it sends them to their blog. Okay, so it's creating content for my social media page with other people's material. Okay, and they don't mind because I'm sending people to them. In fact, they encourage it. That's why they have an RSS feed in the first place. I don't mind because it creates great content for my readers, and it keeps me in their space during the day, right? It keeps me interacting with my readers during the day. And you're going to put 3 of those in there, 3 that you can trust. That's why you want to be able to trust them, because you're posting them on your feeds. Okay, then finally, week 3, we're almost done. You're going to schedule out all your posts. So this is really cool. The way they've done it in Social Bee and other programs is that they give you this calendar like this, a schedule, Monday through Sunday. And what you can do is you can schedule different buckets or categories for whatever time you want during the week. So notice here at 11:11 every day, see it says Fabulous and? My wife has written a book called Fabulous and Focused. So this is a promo item that we put out. Every day at 11:11 on both of our LinkedIns, on Facebook and on Twitter, a post goes out from that bucket. And we have 52 posts in that bucket. So it's different every day. Every day at 1600 hours, a news item goes out. That's from those other people's blogs. Okay, that's just interactive stuff. The ones you hear that say next in category, what it's allowed me to do is it's allowed me to put multiple categories together, and then it drops one from maybe author quotes, one from writing quotes, one from tag and share, and every day it changes it up at that hour, and it changes it up per service too. So it really looks like all this is manually done because it's also randomized, if you will, but it's not really random. And then on Sunday, see the Sunday Selah? That's the little inspirational poster that we would put out like a scripture verse from the Bible. And that comes out at 9:03 every Sunday, and that just goes to 2 of our channels, to Facebook and Twitter. And you can choose which channels it goes on, what you want to include, all that sort of thing. Okay? Is that not cool? And that'll go ahead and schedule out. You can do as many of those as you want. Of course, I recommend for different services, you want to do different ones. For instance, you want to have more picture stuff. It's going to go out to your Instagram, to your Pinterest. You're going to have more just status updates, might be on Facebook, news stories for sure put on LinkedIn and Twitter, okay? But you can mix it up however you want, and you can put as much or as little as you want. I recommend on Facebook only a couple times a day, on Twitter about 11 times a day, on Instagram or LinkedIn just a couple times a day, Instagram maybe 4 or 5 times a day. So it's different for each channel. You can look up online. There's different stats for that. And I think I have a slide somewhere that shows that. I may have to look that up. But anyway, the idea though is to schedule it all out. And once you schedule it out once, this posts whether you're home or not. This posts whether you're doing anything online or not, right? This is posting right now on my channels, even though I'm not on the channels. I'm on here with you. And you'll notice that some of the posts were labeled evergreen, okay? You can label a bucket evergreen, which means, the category rather, evergreen, which means when a post, a category goes out and those 52 items have all been posted, it starts over. So you're not just creating 1 year of posts here. You're creating a decade of posts if you want. And I recommend refreshing that regularly. Keep adding to your buckets, but to get started over the next 3 weeks by July 1st, that's all you need, 52 per bucket, okay? And then you can relax, but not really, because you still have to do things like answer comments and all that sort of thing as people right then, and you still want to do organic posts. It's still, I've found that doing organic posts still really helps. That means just doing your own posts day in, day out, because people still like just when you type stuff on there, not when you have all these images things all the time. So do a little bit of both. But as far as your marketing machine goes, the images are just fine. Melanie asks, should you include your own blog? Yes, you should absolutely include your own blog, but I wouldn't include that as one of those 3 that I trust, okay? I would include that as a separate one. You can add that just like we did the others as, let's go back here. In the same way that you added this RSS feed, you're gonna add an RSS feed, you're gonna put your blog in there, and your blog will then start to show up too. You can schedule exactly when you want your blog to drop. I'm trying to get back to the schedule page. There it is. You can schedule when you want your blog to drop on the schedule too, maybe every Saturday, maybe 2-3 times a week, you know, because what it'll do the same thing. Every time you have a new post, it'll post it on there, but then it can start reposting things that you posted in the past, which is great because it helps blog content that may have otherwise become just disappeared into the void to keep coming back up, and people will interact with blog posts that you posted from a while ago. Melissa asks, she says, for things like holidays, Father's Day posts, do you recommend doing those as individual posts rather than scheduling them in Social Bee? No, I still schedule those in Social Bee, but I create a separate bucket. I have a bucket that I call it bucket category that I call holidays. And in that bucket, I put all my holiday posts because then it'll post on all my channels from one place. But the difference is I don't put that on my schedule. You can go in on the individual posts and say when you want those to drop. So I go in and I say make the Father's Day post drop on this specific date, the Mother's Day one on this specific date, the Christmas one on December 25th. And then it'll post just on those dates, and you can actually schedule that 3 or 4 years in advance if you want, or more. And you can make those drop individually, but you're then not having to go on every individual channel to post those. Social media will do it for every one of them. In fact, even when I talk about posting organically, you can do that through Social Bee too. You can, in fact, on your phone, you can put a Social Bee button on there where they've got a little app where you can go ahead and say, make a new post right now. Let's say you're about ready to go live on a teaching like this, and you're like, oh, I need to let everyone on every social channel know right now I'm going live. Well, you can go on there, you can record a little video or upload a picture or whatever you want, type it out and say, send this to everywhere right now. I don't even want to schedule it. I want it to go out right now. And it'll shoot it out to all those different places instantly, which is really cool because it saves you so much time not having to go to all the different channels. The only thing you have to go to the different channels for is if you want to respond to posts and to check your inboxes, which I recommend you do. Now, the cool thing is I know Social Bee is working on what they call a unified inbox right now. And hopefully within a couple months, they're going to have what they call a unified inbox where you can just go to Social Bee and it's going to have your inbox from Twitter and Facebook and everywhere else all right there in one place. And you can just respond to each one from the one location. You don't even have to go onto the social networks, which is pretty cool. So, so that's, I think, pretty much it for the presentation. Are there any more questions does anyone have? I'd be happy. We got a few minutes. If you want to ask any more, we can talk about a few more together. If not, that is the bulk of the presentation.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That was so good.
Thank you.
I don't know.
I love this talk. Everyone always listens to this talk and they're like, wow, I didn't quite know you could do all that, you know, like that. And I'm just glad that, that we can all do this and make our businesses just rock along with it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And this has me excited again to refocus on this myself because, you know, get a little overwhelmed with things, get distracted, but getting back onto this really excites me because I'm tired of, you know, trying to do it more of a manual way.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Chris. I want to take a moment to let everybody else know that we are working on, WingSpace is working on putting together some more trainings like this, and it'll be part of a series of our rapid launch boot camp that we're going to be launching this August. So if you are interested in that, check it out. You can go to wingspace.biz. Whoops, I need to spell that right. Wingspace.biz, and then boot-camp. So I'm putting that here in the chat. And if you're interested in it, go there and let us know your interest. And if anybody has any last minute comments or questions before we end this, go ahead and unmute yourself or type it in the chat, either way. I am also going to save, so this recording, if you didn't notice it in the email that I sent out, this recording is going to be part of that series for the boot camp. So I know some of you will probably wonder, you know, if this is going to be available. It will be available as part of that. Any other questions before we go? Or any comments? Go ahead and unmute yourself and let's thank Chris together because he did a great job.
I thank you. I did get one question here.
Job.
Thank you. I got a question here from Nathan. So he said, would you stream, or sorry, YouTube or streaming clips be classified as organic content? They could be. So I do a little bit of both. If I'm deciding, hey, I want to just throw something quick out there, I might just go on my phone and record something real quick and put it out, and that is very organic. But every time I create a YouTube video, I also then add that to my category bucket. Okay, because and you'll notice if you look at my like Twitter channel, every couple days another video comes up advertising, hey, here Chris talks about, you know, how to what's the difference between self-publishing and traditional publishing, right? And that's just a Twitter video I have. I created it once, I put it in the bucket, and now every, you know, couple weeks that one will pop up again. And the more videos I create, the more content I have in the bucket. And that's the cool thing, is that you can keep adding to these buckets. So if you have a regular, you know, YouTube videos that you put out there, you just keep adding them to the bucket. And over time, it keeps driving people back to those resources that are so good, but that you put out there. And, you know, sometimes we put things out there and it's like, they're going to disappear. Well, not this way. Now they can just keep coming back and being seen again. And I get comments on videos that I recorded 2 years ago. People are like, oh, thank you so much for this. It was so helpful. And I think, wow, it's a good thing I have something like social media to put that out there, because otherwise no one would even be seeing it anymore, you know?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a bunch of thank yous. You're welcome. I'm so glad everyone could come. I know Melanie is too. This has been a lot of fun. If you have any questions, feel free to, if you go to my website, writingmomentum.com, I have a little chat thing on there. You can feel free to send me any questions if you have afterward. I'll be happy to answer. I know Melanie's always here. Her and everyone at Wingspace is always very helpful, and feel free to talk to them anytime you have any questions too, and they can connect you with the right people too.
Excellent. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you again, Chris.
Thank you.
Have
Enjoyed being here.
one.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.